listening to Frank Skinner's podcast from Absolute Radio.
This is, of course, Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean and... No, hold on a minute, hold on. Because they're thinking now it's going to be David Tennant or something like that. So, like, you know, Christian O'Connell used to have... remember Christian O'Connell? He used to have David Tennant on. We got Steve Hall.
Yeah. Lovely.
I was going to say then, I'd rather have Steve Hall, which I love Steve Hall, but would I rather have him than David Tennant? No.
Well, that's an intro. Talk about make someone feel welcome.
That's nothing to do with Steve Hall. That's to do with
your obsession.
55 years of TV watching. Anyway, look, you can text our show on 81215. Follow the show on Twitter at Frank on the Radio, or you can email the show. What about that for an idea? Via the Absolute Radio website.
Hi, Steve.
Hello, it's nice to be back.
Steve, it's been a while.
It is.
When was you last on?
It's pretty much every summer. I do every August when Gareth and Alan do Edinburgh. I return another year balder.
Good on you.
You don't look that much balder.
No.
I mean, I was pretty bald to begin with.
Yeah, exactly.
While we're on the personal
I think you look less bald in headphones.
I'm going to permanently wear headphones.
It's got a nice comb over feel to it. If I was you, I'd get some beats, some dry beats.
Surgically attached.
No, just wear them all the time.
You look great, by the way. While we're on the aesthetic front, Frank Skinner, the glasses.
Yeah.
They look great,
Absolutely
Frank.
sensational.
Sensational. Frank's got his glasses on this morning. It's a really good look for you.
Can I tell you about these glasses?
Go on.
I did Zoe Ball's TV show. You aware of that?
Yeah.
And Steve, are you aware of that?
I didn't know she had this TV show, so I was always happy that she's still doing telly. She's great.
Still alive, I thought you were going to say. No, she's got actually a very lively, funny, interesting show.
Yeah.
Check it out, Steve.
I will.
Yeah.
You can't just live on American dramas. Can't. I see people there. They don't want fun. Anyway, so Zoe's show includes a book club.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
A la Ricardo and Judy.
Yeah. Ricardo?
Yeah.
Do you think that's a private name for him?
I hope
so.
I think if he'd been a solo act from the beginning, he would have called himself Ricardo Madeley. A bit like, the theory is that Anton de Beek is called Tony Beak. I think Richard Madeley wouldn't have been able to have resisted Ricardo.
Yeah, he's very
He
Ricardo.
looks like a Ricardo.
He does.
Yeah.
He never ages.
And didn't he once steal a bottle of Ricardo?
Oh my God,
No,
that was
didn't.
not proven.
Wasn't he?
I don't know.
I think it was an accident.
he said it was a slip of his mind.
Yeah, it could
Okay.
happen. That could happen to anybody.
Anyway, so go on. So you're on. So you've gone to Zoe Ball's.
Yeah. So one of the things I had to do was read a 340-page Scandi noir novel.
How was it?
When I say noir, I don't mean there was loads of scantily clad dolly birds in it. Noir. It sounded like a sound from the 70s.
Yeah.
But noir, as in black.
Yeah, as in moody,
Yes.
atmospheric.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's French for black, isn't it?
Yes.
It is.
Noir. So that still sounds like a bloke looking at the 1970s.
That's
Anyway.
like a French bloke saying Noah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, if Noah had been... Noah must have floated over France. There were people holding on to driftwood going, noir, noir.
Noah must have floated over front and other things no one else has ever said on breakfast radio. Come on,
anyway, so if you do the book club, which is sponsored by Specsavers, then part of your... a treat for taking the trouble to read a book and make notes on it and talk about it on air is that you get a free free pair of glasses.
That is pretty cool. So you don't have to go to Specsavers. Specsavers go to you.
But no, you still have to go to a local branch of Specsavers. I don't want Specsavers in my home. No disrespect to them.
Imagine two men turning up like the trial, knocking on your door.
Exactly.
Specsavers.
With boxes of frames and,
malign authority figures from Specsavers at the door.
You don't want that. I don't want to be sitting in my own room saying the number one. So clearest.
EFJ.
The green.
KL.
The greens. Yeah, I don't want that. So no, I had to go to Specsavers.
Brilliant.
And
then they sent them.
Well, I'll tell you what happened after this.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
So I went into the Specsavers, and they said, right. So I had my eyes tested. I had my ears tested first of all.
Did someone say you need your eyes tested?
No, but someone said, do you want a hearing test?
Oh.
And I went outside and had another look at the sign, and I thought, should have gone to Specsavers. I walked into a hearing place instead, accidentally. But no, it turns out they do hearing tests at Specsavers. Who?
Fabulous.
No.
That's great.
Yeah. So they said, would you like to do that? And I said I should have gone to, and they said, what? I'm just saying, there's got to be something in that of that nature. But anyway, so I had the hearing test. It was borderline. I'll be straight with you.
Was it?
But I'm 61.
Oh.
And they were telling me you can't get a prescription trumpet anymore.
Oh,
you know the old
trumpet.
ear trumpet. That's what I've always thought I'd go for, not the aid.
Do you know
the trumpet.
what? That's what I was really looking forward to in my old age, was being one of those slight sort of Oscar Wilde matriarchs with an ear trumpet.
I think you will be an Oscar Wilde matriarch.
Yes.
But I don't know if you'll actually have the ear trumpet.
Okay.
You'll probably have some sort of cyber ear trumpet. You just touch something on your phone, you can hear people talking in Uganda. Actually, you can do that on your phone now if you phone Uganda.
Yeah.
Try that.
I think you'd look great with an ear trumpet. Just you at the front of a My Bloody Valentine gig.
Yeah,
with
exactly.
an ear trumpet
Well, you
instead.
could take the trumpets down for the bit that's the unbearably loud
Yeah.
bit. Yeah, and when I was feeling very sort of, introverted and all that, I'd just turn it round. Yeah. Yeah, but you can't. Anyway, you can't get.
Okay.
You can't get an ear.
Well, the point is the glasses.
Oh yeah, so the glasses. So I got my eyes tested, and then they said, right, just pick a frame that you like.
Yeah.
Which is great. I don't know about you, but when I was a kid, I used to have dreams like this about Riley's toy shop by the Queen's Head.
Oh yeah.
I know you didn't have dreams about Riley's toy, but I used to dream that I went into Riley's toy shop and at night on my own and just picked up whatever I wanted out of there, and it's a dream.
Yeah.
And I haven't had that dream anymore since I got famous because I don't need it. So I just said, well, I'll have these. I tried these on. I said, I really like these, and I thought they looked good.
Yeah.
So they said, okay, brilliant. So they started doing all the, they adjust them for your nose and all that sort of thing. And I've got quite a deep, my head is quite deep. The distance between my eyes and my ears is about 18 inches.
Really? I love that you know that figure.
Yeah, well, if I say to someone I've got a big head and they're looking at me straight on and they say, well, it's not too bad. And then if they go and look around the side, they'll see that.
What if they're not talking about the
my head's
measurements?
shaped like a furniture van.
Might not be the measurements they're talking. Okay.
Anyway, so...
you haven't got a big head.
So I chose the frames, and I got measured from them. I really thought they looked cool. And then the woman says, I said, just incidentally, if I'd bought these, how much would they have cost? She said, 39 quid. So I did a couple of jokes about, that's to see I've got cheap taste, and they went, oh, yeah, you have, because... we got some a lot more than that, but it's interesting. And I thought, well, they do. And I said, the thing is, they look great,
Is that what you said?
You don't mind me saying, yeah. I said, they look great. I really like them. Does it matter that they're, the cheapest pair in the shop? It doesn't matter. I just like them.
What do they say?
And they said, yeah, great. So I think they thought, what a lovely bloke. And I thought, I'm quite proud of myself.
Yeah.
So as I was leaving, having been measured up, I saw these 149 quid Gants. I said, I'll tell you what, I'm going to have these. So they had to say, well, they said, we've measured up. I said, yeah, but I want these. I've made my mind up. Because it'll nag at me if I just have the 39 quid ones. And the facade just collapsed.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah. So these are Gants, 149 quid.
He went from man of the
Yeah,
people.
they're nice. They're not
to
quite.
Donald Trump.
Still not.
I'll be honest with you, they're not quite as nice as the 39 quid ones, but they make me feel happier.
You look a bit at the moment like you have just been unveiled as the new Doctor Who. You've got, it's like if that, I could see what you're wearing.
He knows how to flatter me, Steve Hall.
Yeah.
This would be your photo shoot. And they unveil it.
Loving
What?
it.
Okay, well, can I quickly add...
Bit sexist.
Something.
Complete dismissal of the new Doctor Who.
No,
Female.
but whilst you're talking about Doctor Who, very quickly, Claire has been in touch, Frank.
Okay, we're running out of time.
Okay.
The producer's going mad.
Well, do you want me to... I'm going to leave it on a Doctor Who cliffhanger. I've had a text in, and I will just say #Perkins.
Okay.
Features in it, okay?
Okay, if it's from Claire, I think I know who it is. I think I know who we're talking
well,
about.
let's, you know.
Okay. That sounds more ominous than it should. I don't want to leave my girlfriend on that one. It's nothing. It's not. It's
Claire
nothing.
isn't his girlfriend, by
No,
the
she was
way.
in the audience. I know that doesn't exclude anything, but it's been a while.
Frank
Skinner.
on Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
Frank, I left the readers on tenterhooks because I trailed with #Perkins.
Yeah.
Who was... Are you familiar with who that is,
Indeed.
Steve? I wonder if you might
I know
be.
Perkins.
Okay, that was Frank's
The
character
nation
in
knows
Doctor Who.
Perkins.
And this is from Claire, who's got in touch with us via Twitter.
Yeah.
Massive thanks to Frank for humouring my mum on Thursday night at the Soho
So that's
Theatre
not from Claire. That's from.
and signing my photo. And
Yes.
the picture is of a very handsome little boy, and he's got a Doctor Who T-shirt on, which even I recognise as the Matt Smith.
Yes.
What do you call it? I was going to say incarnation, but the Matt Smith...
Iteration.
Okay, fine.
Oh wow.
He's got a red bow tie. That's Matt Smith, isn't it?
Yes, that's
Okay.
right.
So there you go.
Okay, that'd be Teddy, because he sent me a note as well, passed on by. So he's Claire, his mom,
Yeah.
was at the gig. A gig I did a couple of nights
In
ago.
the audience, not at the stage door.
No, and I don't think I really have a stage door anymore. Is there one at Soho Theatre?
Well,
I don't
I wouldn't know. I haven't
let's
got
not
the-
confirm either way.
I think there's a sort of fire door I go out through. Do you remember Fire Door? He wrote some fabulous novels in Russia. the Fyodor Dostoevsky. Wouldn't it be brilliant if they...
Absolute radio, everyone. Russian literature matters.
Wouldn't it be great if we found out that he was actually a health and safety bloke, and that's why he was called Fyodor Dostoevsky?
Fyodor, can you help with this gig? No writing. He's always
I
writing.
wonder what his real name was. But that's what they always called him. Yeah, I always picture him in high vis, Dostoevsky.
Fit Jobsworth. Dostoevsky. Very job. No, you can't go down there, mate.
You see, that's the beautiful thing about radio, is that all our listeners now, and there's over 80, they were all at the birth of that joke. It just happened there, and they heard it form. You know what I mean? It's not like they were at the conception and the birth.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it in a room and then come and tell them about it. They were there. They felt it happen.
Well, it's that lovely thing. As someone who obviously does this show very occasionally and listens to it, the joy in your voice when you stumble upon something like that.
Oh, well, is there anything?
You can't just sit here saying how great we are.
No, I'm not talking about how great. I'm talking about the joy.
Yeah.
I think it was Johnny Mathis who said, "When a joke is born." It was beautiful. So yes, so Claire came and she passed me a note from Teddy, and I signed a photograph. Slightly inconvenient. It was in the middle of a gig, but I gave the microphone to a member of the audience, and he told some dull anecdote while I signed.
Okay.
And then I took that anecdote and I gave it life, a bit like Frankenstein with the sort of the corpse bits.
Yeah.
It's always nice getting a positive heckle. That's the way to throw a comment. If they interrupt for something absolutely lovely,
Yes.
you can't really slam them.
Yeah, well, a bloke last night shouted, "If we play another fiver, will you do another hour?"
That's nice.
Actually, it was Soho Theatre. It might have been someone in an adjoining room talking to someone else.
I think that might have been requested of me in the past life.
I'm actually, I'm going tonight. I should probably, we should go to a break because I don't know if you know, but new listeners, yes, both of you, there's a small fairs that the producer puts on my desk, and it means shut up.
Have you still got that fairs?
Here it is.
Yeah.
Okay, because I bought you one from Morocco. Well, Jonathan Ross got you one from Morocco.
They turn their noses up at that.
Did they?
I'm not involved in the fairs department.
Okay, I'll pass on your comments.
But this little fairs, has lost its tassel.
I love that nursery story.
Exactly.
This little fairs has lost its tassel.
Yeah, exactly. It sounds like a very bizarre commentary on naked attraction.
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
This evening, I've got a gig, Soho Theatre. I'm not. It's sold out. I'll be straight with you. So I'm not plugging it.
Well, stuff always is, dear.
But it's £5 a ticket. I'm not. I'm not basking in my own popularity. I'm begging them to come, basically. But
that's why you give out autographs in the show.
Exactly. I'll do anything. I was photographed with Red Rum 2 nights ago. I'm going to Somerset House.
I do.
It's in London, which is a large conurbation in the southeast of England. And tonight,
traditionally, Frank, can I say where the birth certificates were, which is why I always gave it something of a wide berth.
Aye.
But
well, I wonder if I'll pick up the one for the Fyodor Dostoevsky joke. I better get it registered. So. Anyway, so they have a Steve will know about this, he's a film buff. They have that summer screen thing when you go and sit and watch things outdoors. You ever been there?
Yeah. I know exactly what it is. What did I go and see? Oh,
I saw A Matter of Life and Death there once.
Lovely.
Fantastic, yeah.
David Niven, in case you don't know it.
Yeah.
Bloke dies early on.
Spoiler alert.
It's not really a spoiler. I think that's the first 5 minutes. The main character dies. The rest, well, I'll leave it to you. Yeah.
Late review.
Very fine. That was a late review, yeah.
Yeah.
Very late review for him.
So what's the one you're seeing tonight?
I'm not going to the summer screen thing. That's going on now. Maybe we should do one as a works outing.
I'd love that.
Yeah. It's lovely, sitting in the outdoors watching a film. I once saw... I went to the Arboretum in Melbourne, Australia, and there was bats flying around the screen. Unfortunately, we were watching not Batman. If it had been Batman,
I was going to say, did you get a Commissioner Gordon appearance? Because I love one of those.
Do you love Commissioner Gordon?
Yeah, one of my favourites.
Oh,
Shouldn't but would.
He's been through some manifestations. I still like the 60s TV one.
Oh.
Batman, you really are. They don't talk like that anymore.
It's the only commissioner I like.
It's I think it's Big Mo's brother does it now. So anyway, Jodie Whittaker, or Whittaker as I like to call her, is she's doing a thing called Behind the Screen when she talks about films that have influenced her. I'm guessing. What do you think? Taste of Honey?
Oh,
yeah, Taste of Honey written all over her.
Yeah.
Was Peter O'Toole was her first? That was her breakthrough. Was Venus? Was it with Peter O'Toole?
Is that
so
right?
So maybe there'll be a Peter O'Toole film.
Oh, Wicked
fabulous.
Stevia strikes again.
And there's a bloke...
That's a name I haven't heard in a long time.
There's a woman called Stella Fox, I think she's called, and she is the set decorator on Force Awakens.
Okay.
Now, I never really think of there being a set decorator.
Yeah.
You sort of think of that in, like, Mrs. Brown.
Is Force Awakens Star Wars?
Yes.
Okay. You said
for
that in a very
goodness
contemptuous
sake.
way. There's some people listening,
Yes, okay, you're quite right.
you know, who might have
But you don't
nice
really
hair
think of
and
it as
things,
there's
might
being
not know that.
decoration. It's all...
Yeah,
You don't get Chewbacca's living room. You know.
Wow, I wish you did.
I wish
Just to go around Camden Market looking
just
for props.
all the sofa covered in hairs, like when people have got a dog.
I would like,
Just a few
get the
furballs
look.
placed liberally around.
Yeah, and on the wall, like, you know when they have the 3 ducks, 3 Millennium Falcons.
Just a permanently clogged shower.
I would love get the look, Chewbacca's living room, and just one hook for the belt worn across.
Oh, yeah, of
the
course,
middle
for
area.
the
He
bandolera.
the bandolera. He just hangs that
That
up.
could be on the back of the door.
Yeah.
With a plastic carrier bag, we never know what's in that. I think they're doing Blue Velvet, by the way. It's one of the summer screens. That'd be.
It's a bit snotty,
It's
isn't
a
it?
bit smutty, but I can live with that. But it's a good old. What about work?
There's no way to talk about Kath.
Oh, I love Blue Velvet, but it does collect the bits.
Like Chewbacca's living room.
No, it's a lint magnet. I mean, I don't think there's any getting around that.
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
We've had some outside world.
We've had some contact from the outside world. It's nice to be back.
Le Monde al Fresco? Is that a phrase? I think they're 2 different languages, aren't they? Le Monde al Fresco. I quite like it, though. LMF. That's an
It's the
LMF.
same.
LMF stands for something else, doesn't it?
Well, it might be something bad.
I don't think it's something bad. I don't know.
Okay. Steve.
It's nice being back because
If I get GIMP alerts now on it,
my
I'll be
goodness.
anxious. Carry on.
GIMP alerts, you can get that on your iPhone.
I've got
It's
that
a
on
new
my
app.
iPhone. It's good to know.
Come
on! Come on!
Carl from Stourbridge has emailed.
Yeah.
I used to live in Stourbridge.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Well, you can relate to it.
Amblecote,
He's
for the-
offered up a whatever happened to.
Okay.
He's offered off 2 whatever happened to. One is whatever happened to dogs waiting outside the butcher for bones or scraps.
I know our dog used to do that.
Oh, really?
The butcher said to me, "You want to feed your dog?" He said he's outside. He's outside the shop every day barking. He said he actually barks, so we have to throw him a bone out there. Dogs now, do dogs still have bones?
Are they allowed to do? Is it a health and safety
I
thing?
gave my
We've
dog
got our canine correspondent,
over
Steve.
to
Relax.
you had to get the canine mention in because he loves Doctor Who. I gave my dog some marrow the other day.
Is this going to be a folk song? I gave my dog some marrow without the bone.
We were on our way back from Scarborough Fair.
Oh, yeah.
And I've never seen, he fell upon it like I've never seen. He was obsessed. So they do love. You've got to be careful sometimes with the bones, though. I think the health and safety now worry about the splinters.
Old fire door is on.
Yeah, he's in there.
Doors.
You're listening to the Frank Skinner podcast from Absolute Radio. Want your Frank fix a little sooner? Listen live every Saturday from 8 a.m. on Absolute Radio. Across the UK on digital radio, mobile apps, and in London and the South East on 105.8 FM.
Absolute Radio.
But when I used to do a chat show, we had this vegetarian dog food on.
Oh.
And the people said that dogs, this idea that they've got, because of their teeth and that they must be carnivores, they're actually much healthier on a vegetarian diet, etc., etc. And that, they actually love eating vegetables. It's a myth that they want meat. And I said, I don't think my dog ever barked outside the greengrocers. Let's put it that way.
Panting for kale.
Yeah, desperate. I don't think there was kale in the country in those days. I never heard of it.
Right, no.
John Cale, I think, was in Velvet Underground, but even he was worked mainly in the United States.
So we agree. Do we think
Welsh,
that's whatever
I think
happened
it
to?
was.
I don't know if I'll allow that in, to be honest.
Whatever happened to...
The bones.
To dogs
I don't
outside
think they
butchers.
bark outside butchers anymore. There aren't that many butchers about.
Yeah. I guess that's the answer. Yeah, the butcher.
And people don't have
shoppers.
stray dogs anymore, do they? I don't see stray dogs. I didn't know anyone. I knew when I was a kid, I knew 50 people who owned a dog and nobody who owned a lead. They just put them out. They put them out and they went off. And your dog would sometimes go missing for 48 hours.
Yeah.
And come back looking like a different animal.
I love the way Frank goes down the misty watercoloured memories route about these times.
Yeah, so I think that's probably is it. I'm going to give it the
Okay.
treatment.
Ah.
Whatever happened to
Yeah, dogs barking outside butchers. I'm going to give you that.
The other, whatever happened to Carl
I
Offord?
think we might have to move on.
Oh.
You guys are flying in the face of Fez culture. When the Fez comes out, that means shut up. I mean, for good. I mean, I'm just sad that we have to tell anyone about the Fez. The reason it exists is so that someone doesn't shout "shut up, Frank," and then.
Well, Sarah needs to wave the tassel
I didn't see.
more.
We need to see the Fez.
Tassel's gone.
I didn't see the Fez dispenser.
Well, that's the problem. There's no tassel.
Can I say, I don't think we should have let Steve's Fez dispenser
sorry,
just
bless your
slip
heart.
by. That was one of those moments, one of those jokes. And I was on about this on stage, is that you do a joke and you think, did anyone actually, did they not like it, or did they just not quite? And I always think of person typing in office in 1970s film and a body falls past the office window and they look around and go, it happens in Superman, the original Superman, and they just think it. And it was one of those. But I heard it, Steve.
Bless your heart.
Not only did I hear it, but I brought it to the attention of the British
That's
public.
really genuinely appreciated.
80 of them.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean and Steve Hall.
Hello.
Is with us this morning. I'm going to try and... Steve Hall is here. Steve Hall. Steve Hall. Bring out Steve Hall.
Sound of a rag and bone man summing up my
it's
career.
Town Crier.
Oh, I thought it was the Undertaker.
Making you headline
The
news.
Town Crier. That was my nickname at school.
Was it?
I was quite depressed.
Oh, excellent work. So you can text the show on 81215, follow the show on Twitter at Frank on the Radio. Email the show via the Absolute Radio website.
Yeah. I've had some tweets in, OK? I'm in charge of the Twitter account here, thank you. We have James Mara has been in touch.
Yeah.
Just had...
Is that spelt the same as Rooney Mara?
Oh, M-A-R-A, yes.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's...
Yeah, and she's descended from the owners of the New York Giants and the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Is that
So
right?
Mara is like one of the great...
Wickerstevia.
Oh, no. Yeah, Wickerstevia.
Frank,
I forgot about that.
Can we work on a Wickerstevia jingle of some sort? I don't know what it would be, but just for one of your little nuggets. I'd quite like that.
Yeah. Well, because I'm on the show very, very occasionally. I'd have to be someone saying Wickerstevia and then the reader's going, who?
No, come on, Steve.
Come on, don't be hard on yourself.
Yeah.
We'll do that.
I want to do it, but everything makes me want to do it as a calypso. I think that could be career threatening. What about if I try and
Mike
do
Reed style?
If I try and do a calypso without doing the accent, that would be all right, wouldn't it?
Sounds a bit colonial then.
So here we go. Wickerstevia, Steve knows stuff. I think that would be all right. I don't think I actually.
I think you stayed the right side of the line there.
Wait, yeah, I sort of, some of that police stuff. Coming back from, you think, oh, steady sting. You're on the cusp, mate.
Yeah. I mean, he was, what's it you always say, Frank? The Indiana Jones with the hat? Just getting in a time. Frank always makes a great, and I won't say what it was in regards to, but he often has a great...
Just getting onto the metal door.
Yeah, he talks about that with regards to a lot of things.
Just sliding under the metal door before it's slammed shut.
Yeah, grab the hat. So listen, James Mara. Frank on the Radio, I've just had a eureka moment. Emily said on tenterhooks, and I must admit, I thought it was tenderhooks. I've just Googled and realised for years I had it wrong.
Well, we always call it tenderhooks in the S&M community. No, tenterhooks. But, when you said that, I knew it was tenterhooks. But when you said it, I thought, what are tenterhooks?
Yeah.
I believe I know.
Do you? Is it those things you put in the ground to keep the tent up?
I think it's connected with, I think it's an old, it's when you dry, like a clothing line. I believe that's what it is.
What you talk about, William?
I may be wrong. I think it is associated with some sort of drying mechanism. But if Wickerstevia doesn't know, I'm doubting myself.
It's like Hill's hoist.
Yeah. I'm doubting myself. Come on, you had a mangle.
It's one of those phrases I've never known. I've learnt something today because I've never said it in my life because I've never known if it's tenterhooks or tenderhooks. There are certain phrases I'm not 100% sure, so I avoid saying them. And that's one. So if it's tenterhooks,
I'm really
I'm going to be dropping that in all the time now.
I've given you what I call your little confidence back.
Yeah.
Okay. We've had another one, Mr. Peter Vernon, who's been a
Rings
previous
a bell.
star of the show. Do you remember, Frank? We did a text in called "How Old Is Peter Vernon?"
Oh, yes, when we had to guess his age. Not easy on the radio. As we had neither his voice nor his appearance, just a text. Yeah.
And he's a real person.
Well, I liked him as well because he wasn't. Yeah, he responded
He is a
in a
real
classy
person.
way.
I just briefly worried it sounded like an anagram of pervert. And I was
Pixar,
like,
it didn't happen. No, I think he's a real person, but you've worried me with your anagram thing, which we tried to move away from.
Yeah. So Peter Vernon.
That was when I was happy to just fall past the window while I was typing.
Peter Vernon says, "Hi, gang. Whatever happened to act your age, not your shoe size?" Do you remember that?
Yeah, have we not talked about that before?
Oh, I don't think so.
Okay.
No, I think that's the first mention for the age, not shoe size.
Yeah, because it's all got very complicated now. Because when I was a kid, there's one shoe size. If you pick one now, there's a chart.
Yeah.
It's an international chart.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if you were to say that with you in the US, presumably where they're all like size 40, they would just
Well,
they wouldn't
exactly.
understand.
Yeah, like European 43, I think. Is that what it
Okay.
is?
Yeah.
So, I mean, at my age, it's
So in
perfectly
fact, in
reasonable.
Tom Jones, in Kiss by Tom
36.
Jones, he sings that, doesn't he? Act your age, not your shoe size.
At your age,
Does he?
mama.
In Kiss by Tom Jones, I'm sure.
Does he?
So presumably
at
the
your
internet.
age, mama, not your shoe size.
So the international
wow.
audience
Maybe
would have been
weakened.
baffled.
I never knew he said that.
Yeah.
What, I know he says, I think I better dance now. And then 30 seconds later, you're thinking, well, go on then. I always used to say that looked like they'd sedated, they'd hit a bear in the forest with a sedative dart, put it out, and then put a suit on it. And when it woke up, it was trying to get out of the suit. That's what they had dancing looked like.
I wonder if he says that to get out of awkward situations. This is a good thing if something's been met with silence. Just
think I
go,
better
think I better
dance
dance now.
Yeah. I don't know what. Big, good text. What does Tom Jones say to get out of awkward situations?
Frank Skinner.
On Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
It's nice to be back. I feel like it's like seeing old friends.
Don't say that.
Frank,
Days-
how dare you?
Emily will snatch your head off.
Yeah.
It's seeing young hip friends.
Thank you. It's better.
Now you've mentioned the hips.
I listen to the podcast.
The hips
when
don't lie.
When I
You
take
listen to the podcast?
Yeah, when I take the kids down
Sharp.
to nursery. That's
Oh, yeah.
Because I have very little
Must be a
contact.
very long journey.
It's about half an hour walk,
So you listen to some of the podcast.
and then I listen to the rest on the
okay.
way back.
Okay.
Well,
Thanks.
Because I heard you say that Buzz says sharing is caring, and that's the
That's
thing
right.
that my daughter, my 4-year-old, says sharing
Yeah,
is caring.
I mean, it's not his. He didn't coin it. That's what they're told at
But
school.
I think it's from. Does he watch Daniel the Tiger?
Does he echoes like?
I think that's where Polly's got it from.
Oh, I think it's a thing at his school that they hammer home. Sharing is
It's lovely,
caring.
that.
It's a bit
Yeah.
of socialism. It's nice.
Yeah.
Well, I basically have very little life now, and so I live in chaos.
As you said, you got kids.
Yeah, 4-year-old and a 2-year-old. And so we live in such chaos. We've taken on the services of a cleaner. First time we've ever had a cleaner.
It's a strange thing. From speaking of socialism, how did you feel about it?
Oh, I feel absolutely horrible.
I used to help when I first got a cleaner. I felt so guilty about it. I used to start tidying alongside her.
Yeah.
Well, I like to do the pre-tidy.
Yes, they're absolutely the pre-tidy.
Because
No,
she
but
can't see what
this
the
woman
reality
said
is.
to me, it's better if you don't help. So I stopped.
I had a very spooky moment with our cleaner. There's a lovely woman called Joyce.
Oh,
Here we
God,
go.
Here we go.
Can you get the
Absolutely
get the head of the channel?
I promise this goes nowhere.
Okay.
The fact that I have to have that.
I said, I'm thinking Marlon Brando for some reason. Did Marlon Brando go out with his? I say go out with.
I believe Arnold Schwarzenegger might have had some sort of
was that-
relations, and indeed a child was born.
I think there's something to do with Brando and his cleaner.
Possibly. Could you look into that, please? One of the show boffins.
Someone else,
you ever-
if people.
If you Google
a different
Brando
Brando
plus
of cleaner.
yeah.
No, but that our audience know everything basically.
Yes.
So someone will know about Brando and the cleaner.
But so I managed to.
Brando and the cleaner, I know, it's serious.
I basically terrified Joyce, our cleaner. I was showing her a picture of Polly, who they just done a little graduation
I
thing
didn't know
from
you
nursery.
called it that.
God,
Sorry, carry on.
absolutely.
No, go on, carry on.
So I showed she'd wanted to see Polly was wearing this nursery graduation
Frank,
gown.
opening the crisps in your microphone.
Oh, sorry. A nursery graduation
But it's just
gown.
a fun dress-up thing for
What?
for the kids going on to primary
like
school.
a rolled up
They
scroll.
gave her a rolled-up scroll and a purple mortarboard and a purple
Shut
gown.
up.
Wow, this is hothousing at
Did it have an ermine trim on it?
Not quite that flash, but it wasn't far away. But they loved it, and it's one of those.
Congratulations.
But so I was showing Joyce the cleaner, and so I showed her my laptop.
Who
and I showed her
presented
picture.
who presented the scrolls?
Yeah.
I had Derek Ezra, I think he was called,
Okay.
head of the gas
Head
board.
of the gas board. Richard Attenborough, thank you.
Brilliant. And who did him at the nursery?
They did know. I was hoping it might have been Steve Terry, the former
Jimbo.
Watford central defender.
Jimbo of Jimboree fame.
Could have had Miles
yeah.
Jupp from Ballamore.
Oh, yeah. that's true.
Emma from the Wiggles. That would have been.
Oh,
you know the Wiggles.
Anyway, can we just... Steve was showing Joyce's laptop.
yeah.
So I showed Joyce my laptop, and she looked like something had crossed her grave. She looked terrified, and I briefly panicked, thinking, "Oh my God, what have I left open?"
Yeah.
I thought I've deleted,
Oh,
so there can't be
God.
anything. And it wasn't. Thankfully, it wasn't that. It was. I checked my
What do
laptop.
you mean it wasn't that?
It wasn't any of what you might think if you know me.
Oh,
no.
no.
I always manage to re-establish the creepy vibe I've done that within less than an hour and a half of being back.
Yeah.
But what it was an email
Steve.
advertising.
Goodness me.
I bought tickets to see Paul Weller, who's doing some gigs on the South Bank with an orchestra. So I
That's
thought,
worse than I thought.
Weller with an orchestra, I fancy a bit of that.
I'm
So
not
I bought-
upset.
so I
What,
bought
is
tickets.
she a rocker?
She saw a picture of Paul Weller.
Is it the old mods and, rockers
she looked,
rival?
but she looked really confused. And she said, "Why is there a picture of him on your?" And I said, "Well, I bought tickets." And she said, "I clean for him."
Oh,
Shut up.
no.
And I thought of all the coincidence. That's mad. And so I said, "Can you tell him I'm a fan?" And she did.
Oh, really?
So she
So you're communicating with Paul Weller via your mutual cleaner.
and she said he's an absolutely lovely bloke.
Oh.
But she then came back next week and said, "She said, oh,
He
I
sacked me.
said to Paul, and I said to Paul that you're a fan. He said, oh, thanks."
Well, I mean, what else could he say?
Yeah, but Frank, you had Daniel Craig's cleaner. You have now got Paul Weller's
yeah,
cleaner.
yeah.
And I've got U2's gardener.
Not just Daniel Craig, though. She
Yeah.
did, I think she did Williams.
Did she?
And also, I think she did...
Did she do HBC?
she did Eleanor Bonham Carter and,
HBC.
And Tim Burton, yeah.
Which I imagine lots of cobwebs in those houses.
Well, she said to me, I don't think you dare move the cobwebs from Burton's place.
No.
But she said to me once, can I leave a bit earlier tonight because I'm going to a film premiere?
Oh, sure.
This is a cleaner. Was it Summit Fish? They do a thing called Summit Fish, Tim Burton.
Yes. Let's go.
Yeah, big fish.
Big fish.
Yeah, well, it was that. So she went to the premiere of that, so she had to go and get changed. This is the cleaner.
I mean, for goodness sake.
It's a different world, isn't it?
Yeah.
I wasn't invited. Can I point that out? But so that's nice to share.
It also slightly worried me that we're probably paying more than we should for a cleaner if we can afford the same cleaner as Paul Weller.
Or perhaps Weller's not so keen on handing out the cash. Perhaps he pays low.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've met him once very briefly. He's friendly.
Lovely,
He was,
handsome man as well.
Yeah.
Is he a handsome man? It's hard for.
He is
the-
in my book, dear.
Okay.
Okay.
When's your book coming out? I
All
look
in
forward
good
to
all
that
in good
chapter.
time,
Do you
dear.
do like you know when footballers do my best 11 players? Do you do one of that of hot
I shouldn't
blokes?
put words.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be good. I hope Sue Pollard brings one out.
You're listening to Frank Skinner's podcast from Absolute Radio.
So, I was on the train with Frank Skinner this week, Steve. I'm making it sound a bit suspicious. It wasn't.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't like briefing counter.
No,
Oh, look at me, Benbury's.
it wasn't. You're in love with her, weren't you? It wasn't that sort of vibe. It was more. We were chums on the way back from Edinburgh,
Ah, lovely.
but
We talked till Newcastle.
We did. Love that. We sat airline style because we talked till Newcastle. Then Frank had work to do, and he's very self-disciplined, which is something I try and learn from. But another family came on, didn't they, Frank?
They did.
Characters they were. And so we sat, airline star,
Right.
you know, I sat, and then I suddenly heard him burst into gales of laughter. There's no other way of saying it. Well, there are, but that's the way I'm choosing to say it. And his laughter's infectious, so I started laughing too, but I didn't know what I was laughing at. And finally he shared it with me. And Frank, would you care to tell us what it was?
Well, because I was in Edinburgh, I missed West Brom's first home game of the season. New readers, I should say, that I support a football team called West Bromwich Albion.
I like he has to offer it as an apology.
I don't think it's an apology, it's just an explanation. Not everybody likes football,
Okay.
especially West Bromwich Albion fans often. But anyway, they unveiled at their first game their new mascot.
Yeah.
Now, I should give a bit of background to this. I'm sure everyone knows that football teams have shirt sponsors.
Yeah.
It's a sad thing in a way because football shirts are beautiful, iconic, historic, culturally significant, emotion-inducing things. And then you put a big, ugly sponsor's logo.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter who the sponsor is. There has never been a football shirt that's looked better with the sponsor's logo on it, in my opinion. Anyway, Albion recently announced their new shirt sponsors, and they are a company called Ideal Boilers.
We'll be the judge of that.
Yeah, and I think there was a suggestion on the internet that would be some fans would find that a difficult thing to have written on their chest.
Spare a thought for Virgin Media.
To be fair to Ideal Boilers, I mean, they're a proper old-fashioned company. They're something like 1906 or something,
yeah.
and then
they're a heating company.
They make boilers.
It's not like a low-rent dating app.
No, certainly not. Oh my God, no. But so, I mean, I'm happy with Ideal Boilers personally because it's better than online betting.
Yes,
sponsorship.
yeah.
You know, they bring warmth, not poverty and despair. So I was happy with that, especially when I read a quote, which I actually wrote down, a quote from their website, which is sort of their.
I like that Frank's typed into Google Ideal Boiler.
When I heard they were when they were coming to sponsor us, it's a big thing for the club. So I thought I'd look to see what their slogan is. Continually working to meet ever-changing domestic heating needs.
Yeah.
And that's a good thing, isn't it?
Yeah, that's great. That's it.
Now, when they first announced the Ideal Boilers thing, there was several Albion fans on the internet saying, "Are these shirts available without the logo?" Which I thought was a bit disloyal.
Yeah.
So they wanted shirts without logos, and I think some of them wore without tears. Anyway, it happened, and then
it happened, my friend.
yeah, and then they unveiled the new mascot on Saturday, and it was. It's a dancing boiler, and I mean like a big white. I think they call them combi boilers, don't they?
Well, as one disgruntled West Brom fan said on a fan site that I saw, it's not even fluffy. They could at least stick some goggly eyes on
No,
it.
it's not. It's not fluffy at all. It's if it came to your house, you couldn't have it in the kitchen. You'd have to be in the utility room. It's a white good. We've got a dancing white good. Representing the club to some extent.
Yeah.
I have to say, I passed. There was some moving footage of it. When I say moving, I mean it was animate. I don't mean I was brought to tears by it. Although I did laugh a lot, and I passed it on to Emily on the train to see it. And it's a sort of unbelievable thing, a big dancing boiler. But you know what? I've already, as it were, warmed to it. I think we've had more publicity because of. I think he's officially called Colin the Combi.
He's called Colin the Combi,
but he's
Frank.
boiler man to everybody.
Well, he's boiling, but also what I liked about it, and I appreciate the tassel is waving. What does a tassel do, Frank? It
Quivers.
Oh, quivers. Thank you. he has adopted a sort of Liam Gallagher swagger when he walks.
A lot of mascots do that, though.
His is really pronounced, though.
But I think the crowd were chanting stuff about, of the get a life variety to the man inside it, which was a no need. What I really like the idea is this bloke went to the job centre and they said there's a job going at West Bromwich Albion, and he went in and they said, OK, would you mind wearing a boiler suit? And he said, no, I'm fine with that.
I liked it.
And then he got that one.
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
I've watched the video of Colin dancing.
Oh, yeah.
It's a hell of a thing. It's really fun. It's quite joyful. I like to think it's Alan Pardew in the costume.
No, that wouldn't be joyful.
It's sort of funny because it's so stocky and cuboid from a distance.
Well, it's a boiler.
Yeah, I briefly thought it might be Harry Maguire's head.
Oh no, Nick. I mean, he's a national hero, for goodness sake.
It's that out of love.
It's I'd say I've really got to like it. I think we've got. I think they're on board for 2 years, so we best
brilliant.
And they also said we've got several other surprises up our sleeve, so let's see how that goes.
Does this mean is Baggy Bird still?
Oh yeah, he's still.
He's
there.
still there.
I'm imagining that's a little bit in the tunnel. That's a bit tricky. the new one turning up.
Can I just say the respect for West Brom as well? Because I like the fact that they haven't hidden it. They haven't been discreet. These are the people paying the wages. If you take the cheque, then,
Well, exactly.
I think it's fair enough.
I don't know if about hiding it. I don't know if Ideal Boilers would have just allowed the boiler to be a sort of underground incognito
what I'm
figure.
suggesting is if you have, let's say, for example, Fly Emirates.
Yeah.
It is quite a discreet. You have it on the shirt, but it's that you don't have the mascot coming on as a business class seat, do you?
Yeah, or dressed as an aeroplane.
Yeah. But I think they should. I think you should be forced to reflect your sponsor. I think they should do that.
Excellent.
They should do that from now on.
A Liverpool, just a can of Crown paints.
Well, if they can find a way of somehow warming up, certainly the Alfred's Lane stand during the winter months, I think that would be a brilliant move if they could do that.
Yeah.
I went to a game at the Hawthorns for the first time. It's brilliant. It's a real
First of all, he told me I look like the new Doctor Who. Now he's saying he loves the Hawthorns.
Yeah.
Well, I went
he's after this gig permanently.
Yeah.
I went with Russell Howard, and we'd been given seats by Adrian Charles. In fact, it was very sweet.
Oh.
But it was, it's really.
What was the match?
It was when you beat Arsenal 3-1.
Wow.
I like him even more.
I don't know.
No, yes, it's a beautiful place, I must say. And I think only enhanced by Colin the Combi.
Yeah. It's up there with the classic. Have you ever seen the Partick Thistle mascot?
Is that like a big star?
Yeah. Sort of looks like Lisa Simpson's been drawn by Picasso.
Yes.
And that became
I know the one
kind of a cult favourite
Well,
as
we were once sponsored by the No Smoking campaign.
Oh, what did you want as a cigarette?
I think it was 85, 86. So no, that on the shirt there was a picture of a cigarette with one of those, those no entry red, like a red circle with a red. So that was the sponsor for the year. And all the publicity for it was the Albion team, and the caption was "Champions don't smoke."
Oh.
We won 4 games that year and were relegated. But you could also smoke at the ground at the time. So there was all the players had no smoking signs, and everybody was smoking on the terraces. It was a strange time. So there's been a bit of a history. Yeah. We also had one that just had an enormous big phone number of the sponsor. It's like a house.
It's a great way to find a boyfriend.
It's just a massive phone number on it. I just think, oh God, can't they Google it or something? We don't have to have the phone number.
Yeah.
But anyway, as you say, the money's got to come from somewhere, and I'd rather it come from Ideal Boilers than so many places.
And I love your naked honesty.
Thank you so much. Is that the new Channel 4 programme?
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
You were talking about West Brom fronting an anti-smoking campaign. Did you see the reveal of Santi Cazorla at Villarreal this?
Oh yeah, we should say that Cazorla used to play for Arsenal.
Yeah.
And he, as you intimate, moved to Villarreal. And what they do, I mean, I've seen a few various versions of this, but often they'll bring a player out onto the pitch to wave, and he'll wear a shirt, maybe he'll get a scarf.
Yeah.
There was, I think, when, I could be wrong about this, but I think when Ronaldo arrived at Real Madrid, they had a special thing, and they didn't just do it at the game, they had people come into the ground just to see him arrive. I think that was Ronaldo. So it's got more and more of a thing.
More lavish.
But this...
Santa, I mean,
I've never seen anything quite like this before.
They had a magician.
They did.
So straight away I'm in. And the magician's name is Juncker. So I briefly thought it might be the chair of the European Commission.
Oh, that would have been
taking time out from Brexit
Well, I
negotiations.
could tell he was a magician because he had a black waistcoat.
Yeah.
And that's not, I know, it wasn't a suit waistcoat like Gareth Southgate. It was a showbiz
Was
waistcoat.
it brocade?
It was just a shiny black, fabric.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
And a sort of, they've got this glass capsule, haven't they? It's a sort of like a shower in a 2-star hotel.
Yes.
Yeah, not unlike the things from the original Star Trek series when they used to be beamed up and down.
Yeah.
That kind of
Okay,
feel.
I'm going to go for sugar canister in an American diner. So we've all got a different interpretation
nice.
of it.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm going to go for, in an old shop, the tube where they used to send a message from another department. They'd put it in like
Love
an
it.
egg.
A vacuum.
And,
Okay.
and send it down. As you
That's
say,
the
vacuum
winner.
tube.
That is the winner. I like that.
And anyway, they had one of those on stage, probably about 8 feet high.
Yeah.
And then he gives it full magician za za za. And his
We're doing
arms
big
are moving.
those gestures that they do that no one else ever does in the whole world.
Outstretched arms.
Outstretched
Vitus
arms
dance.
pointed at the thing. Well, yeah.
And then the canister fills with smoke. The West
And
Brom
there's sort of
85-86 team would not
Lord
approve
of the Dance music in the background.
It can't
/
be-
Game of Thrones.
It can't be smoke. It must be. It's dry ice.
I
isn't it?
presume
dry
so,
ice.
yeah.
And then, of course, Santi emerges. Now, we should say Santi's little.
But he's not there. He's not there. It's
Yeah.
an empty big tube, and it fills with dry ice. And you think, what on earth's going on? Or maybe you don't, because you know what's.
And then you see the yellow kit,
Yeah.
and Santi magically appears. But Santi's quite little, we should say. He's petite. He's about 5'5",
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think. So it's when he comes out, you think, oh, he's
And they
tiny.
struggle to open the capsule, so there's a bit of awkwardness. They don't quite smoothly open the capsule, so he kind of stumbles out.
See, they could have used him in the sawing a woman in half thing, where he could have been in one compartment, and they could have like threatened them. They could have had like. Say if they'd have had like someone who wasn't that great, let's say I can't think of a football that would fit that category. But let's for the say they had a very very old man,
Yes.
and then when they opened the thing, then he just came out the bottom. That would have been good.
And it's and then and people are really excited. The people are cheering. And it's just unfortunate he's missing the first 6 games due to smoke inhalation.
Yeah, but what I didn't...
Do you think he said abracazorla?
Frank
Skinner
on Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean and Steve Hall. I've given him a little jingle every time, so Steve Hall.
He's the loneliest man in the world.
You can
It's a bit too upbeat for me.
That tickled his fancy.
you can text the show on 81215, follow the show on Twitter at Frank on the Radio, or email the show via the Absolute Radio website.
We've had a few missives in. John Round has been in touch.
John Round, okay.
I hope you're svelte, John. He says, hashtag Boilerman hopes to maintain his anonymity. He's going to be bigger than the Stig. And then he's forwarded a link, which I haven't opened yet, but it's a link to a story about that, apparently.
About he's going to remain anonymous.
He wants to maintain his anonymity.
That would have actually been the perfect way to unveil Boiler Man, would have been in the same way they unveiled Santi Cazorla. If there was a load of steam and then a still fully
and then
working
a plumber
boiler.
saying, oh, this is going to be a nightmare.
Yeah, this is going to cost you.
You just know it's going to be Adrian Giles, don't you?
It's an absolute nightmare.
And of course, the reason he hasn't come out and said that is because he's not actually wearing a suit. It's just like a white Velcro body stocking. It's a misunderstanding, the Boiler thing.
The thing about Boiler Man, if you've just tuned in, by the way, Boiler Man isn't a friend of ours. He's the new West Brom mascot. Yes, and Adrian's.
Friend of the show, I'd like to think.
And the thing about Boiler Man is the white tights.
Yeah.
I just think it's undignified for a man of any age.
You can't have a boiler in the different coloured tights.
You're absolutely right. The boiler must wear white tights. Yes.
Yeah, he's very much the Test match boiler rather than the one-day international.
If you don't like Boiler Man, just chill.
I would like to see Boiler Man playing in a celebrity cricket game in that outfit. Wouldn't that be fabulous?
It's great. He looks a bit like a fake speed camera as well. He could just terrorise motorists or get them to drive sensibly by just standing near the curb.
I mean, he's got a lot of room in there.
Yeah,
he could actually.
Well, you say that, we don't know what his physique's like. What if he's actually that's made to fit?
I like to think it's like a little cabin inside. He's got shelving and stuff in there.
Yeah. But why is there with all the mascots? Sorry, Steve, I was just going to say, why hate the waist so much? I mean, they're always lumbering creatures.
Some are a bit. They're certainly more slender than.
This is in Gunnosaurus
there was
Rex.
always that mascot race they used to do was always very unfairly weighted to the more svelte mascot.
Yeah, I mean, Boiler Man, I think, would be strong.
Yeah.
Nikki, sorry, Frank, I was just going to say, Nikki has got in touch to say, do they still have the football mascot race? I don't think the Boiler would do that well without legs, but it would be funny. Well, it has white tights. He does have legs.
Yeah. Oh, God, he's got legs. What are you talking about?
Angry.
Still, there is a man in there. You know that, don't you? I say it might not be a man. We don't know that for certain. I'm being a bit sexist.
Yeah.
Boiler woman.
Me. Yeah, we should have revealed him the way they revealed Cazorla. They should have had a big, square. The trouble is, though, I suppose, is that it would have looked like he was leaking steam.
Yeah.
Should have been a very bad advert for Ideal.
Yeah.
Boilers. Not Ideal.
We were trying to work out how that trick was done, weren't we? We were just chatting during one of the songs about how the Cazorla illusion works.
Are we allowed to talk about
Are we allowed to
magic?
speculate about magic?
Oh, yeah, we're not. We don't know, so we're not going to give away a classic secret.
I'll do the magic music while you discuss it, Steve.
So we were debating was there mirrors.
I'll see if I've got some magic
Have you got
music.
Down, now.
We're thinking some kind of mirrors.
This'll do it. It's magic to me.
Yeah, we figured mirrors around the base that would just reflect the grass, so it would look like it's part of the pitch, but it's basically mirrors. I don't have an explanation other than they do it with mirrors.
Is what you're basically breaking it. You've broken it down to the most mundane thing ever said about illusions. Thank you, Steve, for
my lecture
that
at the Magic Circle.
enlightening investigation into how it was done.
You're listening to the Frank Skinner podcast from Absolute Radio. Want your Frank fix a little sooner? Listen live every Saturday from 8 a.m. on Absolute Radio. Across the UK on digital radio, mobile apps, and in London and the South East on 105.8 FM.
Absolute Radio.
Darren has texted to say Boiler Man should wear orangey brown tights, then it would look like the copper pipes going into the boiler.
Oh, nice.
Really good idea.
Imagine if he had to wear orangey brown. I don't know if you can even buy them in that colour. Hello, I'm looking for tights in earthenware.
I don't think you can buy boiler outfits. I think it may have been made especially. I'd be surprised to find he got it off the peg.
Orange brown tights, though. I mean, who's got to go and buy those? First day on the job.
If I was doing that job, I don't think I'd be worried about the orange brown tights if I was dressed as a combi boiler.
Well, that just illustrates the difference between us.
Well, yeah. He's got, whoever it is, they've got good legs.
Yeah, they do.
The trouble is
Extraordinary
now,
thing to
if it
notice.
turns out to be a woman now, of course, that'll be a dark and unacceptable remark.
You know, he had good legs, Boilerman. Congratulations.
Do we know it's a man now for sure?
Well, Dave from Birmingham says, I played football with the Boilerman,
Oh, okay.
and he's actually pretty quick. Boilerman would win the mascot race.
Oh, but does he mean as Boiler Man?
No, I thought he meant in civvies. I thought he
think
knew...
I'm imagining he's a bit like Zorro
Yeah.
in the West Midlands, that no one really
Yeah.
knows who he is.
Sort of like the Northampton clown.
And he's a representative of the local gentry.
I like the way we're talking about him like he's just a player. Oh, boiler, yeah, but the boiler,
Boilerman.
the boilerman.
Well, he might be a player for all we know.
Well, I was saying off air just now, my concern, though, about Boilerman is that there's going to be a spate of... yes, I said spate, and I'm
Yeah.
not using it for cancellations.
Okay.
A spate
Or
of
burglaries.
copycat mascots, sort of faux ironic. Do you feel me here?
Yeah.
So, and I won't like that because the charm of Boilerman is its naivety.
Oh, yes, that's true. It's
Okay.
very... Yes, it's primal.
Yes.
The Cazorla thing, I remember when players used to... when they used to have a big signing at the club, they used to take like a little trestle table onto the pitch, and a bloke would come out usually in a three-piece suit, and he'd sign the great. If you compare it to a magician making a man appear in a tube of smoke, the bloke would come on, he'd be handed a biro, and he'd sign the contract on the table, and then that would be it. It would be. I mean, I don't know if it was the actual signing of the contract or whether if it was a mock.
Yeah.
But it wasn't. It wasn't the Red Arrow flyover as far as visual display. So they just come on and sign it. It'd be a big round of applause. Now, of course.
Well, this could be a trend. So I'd like to think if there's more magic in football, if someone scores and they go to the crowd and make a 5p piece come out of a kid's ear.
Oh,
That
that
could
would, yeah, I don't think you can. I don't think you're allowed to touch the crowd. That's my experience. You know, I was the mascot at the Albion once.
Shut up.
I was.
Oh, yeah,
Wow.
didn't you? Was Adrian a mascot
Me and
as
Adrian,
well?
yeah, he was
Yes.
Baggy Bird and I was Baggy
That's a bit
Junior.
rude. He's lost
Yeah.
weight recently.
Yeah, yeah, and we didn't tell anyone. It wasn't announced. We secretly were inside the two outfits.
Do you know what I love about that? I can imagine you being quite good-natured and excited, and Adrian going, "This suit is an absolute nightmare. It's so hot."
he loved it. The big
he?
thing with Adrian, is that he wanted to be Baggy Bird because Baggy Bird is the senior partner in the thing. So me and him went to Queen's Park Rangers as. He said, I thought we could do as Batman and Robin because it's like dressing up last. I said, fine. And I thought, I won't even ask who is who. I know for a fact. He says, I'll get the costumes. I thought, I know you will. And I know who'll be the Boy Wonder. Yeah, and sure enough, he turned up in the Batman outfit. Here's yours, sir. Here's yours, Frank. Never even questioned it.
Oh, you're lucky he didn't palm you off with Commissioner Gordon.
That's it, yeah. That was the joy of it, though, is you get your photo took with a lot of fans when you're the mascot. When you walk around the pitch at the beginning, they come and they didn't know it was me. So I'm having my photo. I'm a giant thrush in this.
Don't be so hard on yourself.
Yeah, and I meant the bird. Yeah. Adrian was dressed as a Chewbacca stand. So I was putting my arm round people, and for the first 20 pictures, I had a broad grin on my face, and then I thought, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? So I just stood there, just staring blankly, like I was looking at a wardrobe in a shop with my arm round people. And it was fine. It was fine.
That's
It gives
great.
you tremendous freedom, a mascot outfit.
That's the equivalent of, like, you know, when famous people go to Comic Con dressed as, you know, in cosplay.
Yeah.
That's your version of
they
Comic
wear
Con.
masks.
Yeah, but nobody knew. It was never announced on the day or anything. We were just...
That's brilliant.
yeah, what a fabulous way of...
So you could be Boilerman.
I could be, you don't know, yeah.
I like the way you're saying Boilerman.
Yeah, I've made him sound
Yeah,
like an old
I don't
Jew.
mind that. Yeah,
Come say Steve's allowed to say that.
yeah. I like.
He's Jewish.
I like the idea that Boilerman might be someone on the witness protection program who's just keeping a low profile.
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
So we've been chatting football. So it feels like the right time to mention the Right Honourable Sir Gareth Southgate,
Oh, yes.
who
Lovely.
obviously the nation's beloved at the moment, and if we couldn't already love him more, it turns out he's a big fan of Bake Off.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
a big fan of Bake Off. He's obsessed with it.
Yes. Is this supposed to make us love him more, did you say?
I thought the way the papers have presented it, it's as if he's even more homespun. Does it make you like? Does it make him like you?
I'm worried
like him
about
less?
it.
Go on then.
It said he's desperate to do Celebrity Bake Off.
Yeah.
I hope that. I went to see The Sound of Music, Andrew Lloyd Webber's The Sound of Music, on the opening night, and after it, there was just one thing with the way they did the curtain calls, which I thought didn't allow us to give full applause to the star. The music came in. So he came over and I saw him after and he said, "Did you enjoy it?" I said, can I just say just one thing about it? And he looked at me and he said, "Please don't." And that's how I felt when I read that Gareth Southgate
really?
wanted to do Celebrity Bake Off.
Yeah.
Please don't.
Yeah.
No, because I think the brilliant thing about the World Cup is he came over as a man of integrity.
Yeah.
And I think if he doesn't do that as a danger, that
You think it looks like he's sold out, or
it just looks a bit cheap. We won't be cheesy unless it's a cheesecake.
What worries me is I can see them now, and they'll make him wear an apron, and it'll be in the shape of a waistcoat with 3 white buttons down the centre.
And he'll be a cupcake, world cupcakes.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, Frank, you've got it. And
It'll end with a panettone shootout.
They'll say it's crumbing home.
Yeah, it will. It'll be
there'll
all
be
like
too many
that.
Sandy, you'll be going, "Oh, you're tackling that Madeira."
They'll make him slice a cake with his face. I would, if I'm not by any strength his advisor. But if he said to me, if he wrote to me and said, "What do you think about this?"
He wrote
First
to
of
you
all,
like Jane Austen,
first of all,
1895.
I'd
Why
be
did he email you?
Okay, if he emailed me, I forgot about that form of communication. I would beseech him not to do it.
There's obviously the worry that if he comes up against a properly decent baker, he'll probably get through the early rounds playing some less good bakers. And then he's going to get found out.
Well, he might deliberately lose one of the rounds against some of the lesser bakers.
He says he has bake-off parties, though, bake-off themed
Does
parties.
he say that?
Well, is it a friend
Doesn't it mean that there was a cake at one of his parties once?
How do they work the bake-off parties?
Because if you go to a party dressed as Paul Hollywood, that doesn't look like a cake party. That looks like a seedy swingers party. If you go as Paul Hollywood.
Oh, Frank.
Can I say Absolute Radio completely disassociate themselves? Paul Hollywood's a very fine professional. We all respect. I imagine that you turn up and he bakes the cake. He's not going to have multiple ovens, is he, Gareth Southgate?
But I thought each person would have to turn up with a cake. So Raheem Sterling with a tort. You have to present your cake.
Well, that would be. I wouldn't mind going to that.
Harry Kane with a Battenberg. Hello.
And then he chooses his final 23 from then. He has different.
That's how he chooses the squad.
No, well, I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind going to that part. But that's in his own home. I don't mind what Gareth Southgate does in his own home. I just think he's the first England manager for some time who probably who's got the genuine affection of the country, and I think he needs to be a bit careful.
He's one soggy bottom away from losing the affection of the nation.
Well, Gary Lineker certainly was.
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
On the subject of Gareth Southgate and
the bake-off.
And New England. Should we call them New England? He's a bit like, isn't he like when Tony Blair arrived?
Yeah, he is.
He's a bit England 2.0.
Yeah. So I went out to buy an England football shirt for my 6-year-old Buzz at the weekend. I sort of forgot I was in Scotland. So I went into Sports Direct on Princes Street in Edinburgh and said, "You got any England shirts for kids?"
How did that go down?
I think he looked around the shop, and I thought first of all he was looking to see if he'd got any. And I thought, surely you must have looked around the shop before. I think he might have been looking for a hidden camera or something. But they hadn't got any, and he was relatively okay about it. But he just was looking at me like, "What?" Yeah. And it turns out it's a different country.
Well,
who knew?
I tried to help Frank in the task, didn't I? I started ringing around, and one man said to me, "You won't find one of those in the whole of Scotland."
Yeah.
And then the receiver was replaced. Quite quickly.
It was a bit. I thought it was. We're all.
God's children.
Yeah, we're all God's children. Certainly.
Given how close the independence vote was, there would be people. There's a few English people who reside in Scotland.
And they hadn't got any Remember Culloden iPhone covers either. They were angry about that. No, so I thought, after I'd sort of dwelt on it a bit, I thought, I guess it's fair enough. I know there's a bit of a rivalry, or sort of one-way rivalry. Yeah. So I thought it was a stupid thing to do. I'll wait until I, until I get back to England. Yeah. Maybe a more apposite place to buy an England shirt. So sure enough, I got back on Monday. I went out. I went to Sports Direct. I better not say which branch it was. I went to one in Northwest London.
Okay.
And I went in, and I couldn't believe. I said to this bloke, "Do you?" And he went, "Yeah." I said, "The balls. How much are the balls?" 18 quid. And then I went another bloke, and he was, "Yeah, I don't know." So I got a ball. In the end, I got a World Cup ball. I went to the counter, and I said to the bloke, I said, "Have you had bad news?" I said, "Has something bad happened?" He said, "What do you mean?" I said, "Everybody just seems in a really terrible mood." Yeah. And he said, it's just the shop."
Wow.
I don't even know what that means. Yeah. So I was talking to my PA, and I said, "I got Buzzer World Cup football." She said, "Oh, great." I said, "I went into a sports place to get it."
I love your sentences beginning. I was talking to my PA.
Yeah. And I said it was like a sort of surly police interview. Yeah. You know, when they're the ones who know that they're right and they don't want to tell you anything. Well,
no comment. No comment.
It's really difficult. And she said, "Oh, was it Sports Direct?"
There you go.
So
I know you get a lot of huge mugs at Sports Direct.
What's that mean?
Both mug-wise and human-wise.
No, but I would have thought it was an uplifting place to work among
Why do you think
sport gear and stuff. Sport's one of the the great joys.
Depressed by Mike Ashley's transfer policy at Newcastle.
Yeah, I don't know if maybe they get a lot of awkward, difficult customers. And stuff.
Yeah,
I really
almost like people walking in saying, "Has something bad happened?"
I feel like I was asking. I really felt like I'd walked into something awful.
Yeah.
When you get go around someone's house and they've obviously just had a big row. It was like that.
Actually, to be honest, Frank, you do often miss out on some of these retail stories because we had to break the news. So you might have thought there might have been financial problems because we had to break the news to Frank on air that BHS didn't exist anymore.
No, that was a shock. Yeah, but I still think that there might have been something terrible happened in that shop.
Yeah.
But
goodness me.
Anyway, I'm not dissing the company as a. Well, I suppose I have now accidentally, but that wasn't my intention. Anyway, I got a World Cup ball and I got an England kit for my child.
Has he worn it yet?
Well, I went online in the end.
Well, you always do, dear.
Worn it. He hasn't worn anything else since. It's brilliant. Oh, it takes me back. Not that my parents could afford one, but I think they drew one on my bare chest.
Extraordinary.
So I'm trying to find a way out this link. When I keep going, I haven't found it. I have to get out on a whoosh.
So are you getting It's Coming Home delivery if you've ordered it online?
It's not what I dreamt of, but let's leave it at that. At least it wasn't me.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
And can I just confirm, Frank was suggesting earlier that Marlon Brando had a relationship with his cleaner, and you were correct.
See, I knew I had a memory of some terrible quote from him about how it all began. With her cleaning under a table.
Oh, dear.
Yeah, I know, Marlon. He's got, a great actor, but in many ways an animal. Anyway.
Some review. David Lister has got in touch to say David Essex's mum was a cleaner for Paul McCartney.
Is that right?
Lovely bit of info there.
Brilliant.
That is, I love it.
You got sent a note by Paul McCartney today.
Well, did I?
Okay.
I got. This is a bit. Perhaps we should put a photo of this on our.
Okay.
What's it called?
Twitter, darling.
Twitter, yeah.
Our producer announced it, didn't she? With a flourish.
Yeah, well, she said, "Oh, you've got a message from Paul McCartney." So obviously, I was quite excited. A message from Paul McCartney, and it's his new single, I think. And there's a little note that said something like "All the best, Paul." But I
think you'll find it said "Cheers."
Cheers, Paul. But it looks printed. You know, the printed autograph. I'll tell you, I once wrote to Dennis Law, the footballer, and said, "Can I have your autograph?" And he sent me back a shredded wheat advert. A sort of flyer for shredded wheat. Who hands those out? And it had his autograph printed on it, and he thought that would do.
That's cheap,
Yeah,
isn't it?
I've
really gone off him now.
But so I would love to know if people think it's a real. To me, it looks printed.
Yeah, you have to look closely. I'm leaning towards printed.
Can I be honest? I don't think you had to look that closely.
Really, you think it's printed?
Yeah, it's definitely
I
printed.
mean, why
I'm
bother
so
having a separate compliment slip with a printed "Cheers, Paul" on it?
Yeah.
I know.
What a shame.
I can
Well,
dream.
it's still a nice thing to get. Come on.
Yeah.
What a printed Paul McCartney autograph. I used to collect Beatles bubblegum cards when I was a kid, and they all had the printed autographs on.
Yeah.
I've got a house full.
Frank Skinner.
On Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
I have got all 4 autographs.
You haven't.
Do you?
Yeah.
Wow.
Of the Beatles?
Yeah.
Shut up.
I have, yeah. You've got to be careful with Beatles autographs because they had women working at the office who used to do all the autographs. But this it's a sort of a menu from a flight from the Bahamas when they were flying back from filming Help. And it's signed by all of them, except John Lennon signs it about 6 times, suggesting that he might have been drinking on the flight.
Yeah.
Oh, dear.
Because I showed them to Ringo Starr. I said, "These are real, aren't they?" He said, "I don't think so." But that's just because he's Ringo Starr.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty confident they are.
Frank,
Well,
I
you can
didn't know
compare.
that.
You can compare the printed one from Paul. Maybe he's not. Maybe it's the print. It's not even his. Maybe he's got someone who does it for him.
Are you
now.
suggesting I go compare? Well, I certainly won't do that. Anyway, I'd love to know if it's the real. Plus, we should put it up, and there'll be a calligrapher
It's the
listening.
real McCartney.
Yeah, the real McCartney. Very
Do you
good.
know, I really would. If there's a calligrapher listening, that would make me very happy. That's exactly the demographic I want for this show.
Yes, I think
See?
I like to think we have a hardcore following of calligraphers.
In their little studio.
Yeah.
You know?
Whatever happened to calligraphy? That would be a good whatever happened to. What was you talking about before? I was talking about a Doctor Who thing called Sharda.
Oh, yeah.
That was.
Good. I'm glad we got back to that.
It was never completed, and I said it didn't happen because of industrial action, and Steve Hall said,
Industrial action.
"Yeah, you just don't hear that. You don't hear that phrase anymore."
Due to industrial action.
Yeah, now it might be because Margaret Thatcher broke the unions in the
It could
80s,
well
but
be,
I
yeah.
just don't think it's called industrial action anymore.
Can I just say Steve has got in touch? Not this Steve, but another Steve. It was Adam Ant's mum who cleaned for Macca.
Ah,
Adam used to walk his dog. Well, I don't know. I can't confirm that. But
That's quite a big Adamant or David Essex. There's a big stylistic difference there.
well, I don't know. I think either one is a good story, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. I just heard David Essex's cover of Ghostbusters for the first time
Did
ever.
you? I've never heard that.
That's a staggering thing.
was only a winter's tale. Yeah.
I didn't know you had that up your little sleeve.
Oh, man. I celebrated David Essex's, I think it was something like his 49th birthday.
Can I say he liked a waistcoat, Frank?
And we were in the Sahara Desert, and we sat round a campfire. I was sitting next to Victor Abugo, the English rugby legend.
I hope that didn't happen website aren't listening to this story.
And we sang Hold Me Close in the desert to David.
Love that song.
Fantastic.
As he looked a little bit sheepish and coy about the whole experience.
Oh.
It's a frightfully nice chap, and then we had him on here and I messed things up. So sort of got on really well in Africa. I had him on here and he was a guest and I didn't play a single from his new album and he took a gin me.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
That was an awkward day altogether.
Okay. Should we leave it on that?
Yeah, let's leave it there. It was only a winter's tale. Yes, I think it was on in the winter, so it actually was a winter's tale. Okay, I think we've run out of time. Run out? Oh, we've got time for you. Can't leave Basil with his head in a vice. That's what they used to do on the Basil Brush Show. Why don't you just trust me, you young people? Thank you so much for listening this morning. If the good Lord spares us and the creeks don't rise, we'll be back again this time next week. Be seeing you.
The Frank Skinner Show on Absolute Radio. Back Saturday morning from 8. Tune in live for the full Frank experience.
Absolute Radio.